Joining us now, former federal prosecutor and lawyer with the DOJ National Security Division, Brendan Ballou, former Ohio governor and MSNBC political analyst, John Kasich, and former special assistant to President Biden and former director of message planning, Megan Hayes. Brendan, starting with you, President Trump says that he has nothing to do with this probe, but he's happy about it. What are Pam Bondi and Donald Trump trying to do here?
I think they're trying to create the appearance of progress in this investigation without actually making any progress. You know, the thing that I found most interesting about the Department of Justice's announcement is what it didn't say. And you already alluded to this, which is it didn't say where this investigation would actually occur or who's running it. And what that suggests to me is that they have not yet found a credible U.S. attorney to take this on. And instead, they want to send out press releases, making it look like they're making progress.
Liz Oyer, bringing you in now as a former Justice Department employee, your reaction to the Trump administration trying to rehash, to relitigate what happened in 2016. What is there to gain at this point?
Well, virtually everything that Pam Bondi does as Attorney General is performative more than a serious attempt to enforce the laws of this country. And this seems to be no exception. Pam Bondi is constantly performing for the president, and she seems to be using the Justice Department to carry out his grudges. This is an old grudge that dates back to 2016. It's questionable at this point whether there are any charges that could validly be pursued against anyone. Most federal offenses have a 5-year statute of limitations, certainly the type of offenses that you could expect to be investigated in a case like this. So the fact that this is being investigated nearly 10 years after the fact raises the real suggestion that this is just a political diversion. It seems to be a diversion from the Epstein matter, which has consumed all of the oxygen in the Department of Justice for many weeks now.
Liz, what do you make of the fact that this is all public? We talked to Ken Dilanian earlier, who said that that's not routine. So why do we know about this?
Yeah, one of the most shocking things here is that this is even in the public domain. There is a longstanding tradition in the Justice Department that's actually based in rules and laws around grand jury secrecy of not disclosing the fact of an ongoing criminal investigation. That is typically held very confidential until charges are brought. So the fact that here this was disclosed to Fox News, I'll note, suggests that someone in the Department of Justice leaked this for a political objective, likely to divert attention away from the Epstein case. Otherwise, this would not be in the public domain at all.
Brendan, what does this do to the credibility of Bondi and the Justice Department when it appears that they're expending resources and time on yet another issue that seems to have been litigated and put to bed?
It certainly doesn't help. You know, there's actually reporting going on, and I've seen it, in my own practice, that the Department of Justice is absolutely shredding its credibility in a matter of months. And I always say the only thing the Department of Justice has is its credibility, its ability to convince judges and juries to believe it. And when it is engaging in seemingly obviously political investigations, it absolutely destroys it. And that has problems not just for this investigation, but for all the work the Department of Justice does. So I think the fallout of this sort of politicization is going to be pretty broad.
And there shouldn't be politicization here, Governor, because this was bipartisan intel that was approved. You saw Senator Rubio at the time talking about it. So why now is the president, again, going after former Obama officials, bucking intelligence and something that was put to bed?
Look, this is something I have been warning about for a long time. You begin to see this happening now on the whole issue of gerrymandering and redistricting. You know, Texas wants a redistrict, so now California is going to redistrict, and Illinois is thinking about it, and New York is, and then there'll be more red states. This is tit for tat. You know, you went after our guy, we're going to go after you. And this is where we are in this country in the political system. And what it has the impact of doing, this tit for tat, is it discourages people to have faith in the system, period. And somebody's got to knock it off. I mean, you know, this kind of back and forth is something that when you get into that spiral, somebody has to be big enough to stand up and say, we're not going to do that. So this is not a surprise to me. I mean, it's just what I had predicted years ago, and you're going to see this happening with gerrymandering. You're going to see it with a lot of other things that are going to happen as we get down the road if this trend continues. And I hope it doesn't, because it really hurts the country and creates a real cynicism in the mind of voters as to who I can trust and who I can believe, and probably also further polarizes those true believers on both sides.
Yeah, we're seeing the electoral and judicial ping-ponging going on here. Megyn, of course, this all begs the question of whether this helps the DOJ deflect, as Liz was saying, from the scrutiny over the Epstein matter. According to this recent poll from the University of Massachusetts Amherst, 63% of Americans believe the Trump administration is hiding information about Epstein. Taking that into account, does the timing of this probe seem suspect?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they are taking something that has been litigated and put to rest, and now they want to try to deflect and use Obama and other people to deflect away from Donald Trump and the Epstein files, which they created that controversy on their own. No one in America was asking for the Epstein files except Donald Trump and his base. So it's really curious of why they are doing this now. But also, if they are going to go after Obama, are they also going to go after Marco Rubio, who's the sitting Secretary of State and the sitting National Security Advisor? He is the one who signed this bipartisan report that came out of the Senate. So he is just as much to blame than as these Obama officials that they're going after. It just makes no sense to keep politicizing these types of things. As Liz knows from working in the DOJ, that is not what the DOJ is supposed to be doing. It is not a political entity. It is not a political arm of the administration. But this administration, the Trump administration, is acting like it is their own law and their own system to go after their political enemies.
And as we mentioned there at the top, we don't know who this is targeting. We don't know exactly what they're going to be looking into. But Brendan, former special counsel Jack Smith is also now being investigated, as we've been reporting over the last few days, for alleged violations of the Hatch Act, allegations that he was acting politically in his investigation into Trump. Who can keep track at this point of all of the ways that Trump seems to be making good on his promise of retribution?
Yeah. This was certainly on Donald Trump's to-do list. The problem with the Jack Smith investigation is the same problem that they have with the Russia investigation, which is that there seems to be no underlying crime here. When Senator Tom Cotton made the referral to the Office of Special Counsel, and just for the benefit of your viewers, the Office of Special Counsel is different from the office that Jack Smith held. When Senator Cotton made that referral, one of his primary pieces of evidence of politicization was that Jack Smith went too long, filed too many pages in a single brief, and exceeded court limits. That is just the weakest evidence possible.
What does that even mean, Brendan? What does that even mean?
Well, so courts normally only allow a certain number of pages to be filed in a court document. Jack Smith went over that page limit. And according to Tom Cotton, that's evidence that Jack Smith was trying to politicize this investigation.
Thank you for clarifying. Liz, big picture, how concerned are you now that Americans are viewing the Justice Department under Donald Trump as something of an agent to go after his people standing in his way?
This is very troubling. So zooming out from this one specific investigation, there is now a friends list and an enemies list within the Department of Justice. Enemies get prosecuted and friends get rewarded. The president is also using the Department of Justice with Pam Bondi's assistance to dole out favors to those who support him. We've seen that in the form of certain criminal prosecutions that have been dismissed, the most high profile being that of the New York City Mayor Eric Adams. We've also seen the president using pardons to reward his friends, even when traditional standards for that type of relief are not met. So he seems to view the Justice Department as his personal favor bank and his personal force of people who are there to carry out his grudges. And Pam Bondi is willingly going along with that agenda. It's a major pivot from the past, when the Attorney General has always maintained a degree of independence from the White House and served as a check on the political agenda of the White House. That is not happening at all. And frankly, it is doing generational damage to the credibility of a very important institution entrusted with upholding our civil rights, protecting the rule of law, and protecting public safety.
Governor, is this doing damage to the Republican Party? How concerned are you?
Listen, I have to just point out that if you talk to Republicans, they will tell you that they think that the Biden administration and administrations before that were engaged in these kind of tactics. For example, if you think back to, and I know people don't want to hear this, but if you want to hear what both sides think, they look at the fact that there was a case against Trump about having presidential papers. Then they find out, oh, well, Biden had those papers too. And the Republicans say, well, why are they after Trump? You know, the other interesting thing, and when Republicans look at, the damage that has been done to them, they ought to remember that it was James Comey that had announced an investigation into Hillary Clinton like 3 weeks before the presidential election, which have influenced a lot of people. I guess what I'm saying is, with all these areas we're going through, right, it's just back and forth and back and forth. And do I think this hurts the Republican Party or the Democrat Party? It hurts the system. And we have to have great confidence in these institutions. I must say, going forward so far, these institutions have held up pretty well. The courts have held up pretty well. Let's just hope they continue to, because if we lose that, then, well, we don't want to lose that. Period. End of story.
And I think people could go into the details all day about the discrepancy between the Biden case, the Trump case. But at the end of the day, I think the point you mentioned is really a salient one, which is this erodes trust in our democratic system, and that could do long-term damage. Megan, do you want to respond to that?
Look, I don't disagree with the governor. I think that we are working in a system here that we are too polarized. We are working in silos. We are not doing anything bipartisan, which we definitely need to. And but every time that someone makes a move and then we do the tit for tat, it gets worse and worse. And so I agree that someone needs to stop, but I don't think that it's on the Democrats to stop and lose the rule of law and watch the Trump administration go after their political enemies.